Because
he's
also a very masculine person. You get to find that out as you dig deeper into
Daddy Jimin.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you'll learn.
You will.
Jimin is daddy.
Yes.
See, this is what makes people uncomfortable. Why can't I just say this? This is the truth, though. This is the truth. The whole bit. All right.
The whole bit.
All right, we're recording, so I am going to tell the people listening and everybody else, which is still 0, because 0 times a number still equals 0. Welcome.
Math.
Welcome.
Math.
No, actually, math can go home, because today we talking about K-pop.
Hey.
Welcome to the KIANAA Korea podcast. Now, that is the know-it-all, not at all, Korea podcast, in which we are brutally honest about the fact that we think we know a lot, but we know very little, and we are here to learn. Welcome. I'm Sebastian.
I'm Dani.
I'm Sasha.
And we are going to go on this journey together because this is the inaugural #1, very first episode of KIANAA Korea, and we are so excited to be here. Thank you for joining us. I'm the one that's talking a lot, but that's just because the other people...
He knows what's going on.
The other two are just like, yeah, eventually we're going to get to a part where I want to talk about what we're talking.
I'm not talking because I have hard candy in my mouth.
She's eating. And that's what we're all about, people. This is literally the whole... No, I'm just kidding. So what we actually are going to talk about today, because it's the first podcast, is why, what, and who? So what we're going to start with, why? Why? Because we simply love everything about Korean culture and K-pop.
Yeah.
We are all infatuated. We are all to different levels of immersion. And we really thought, like, what's the best way to force ourselves to learn lots about K-pop, even though we really shouldn't spend all this time learning about K-pop?
This is really just a justification
Which is
of our obsession.
justifying spending more time in the K-pop rabbit hole. But guess what? We are not upset, because down this rabbit hole, you meet us. 3 unexpecting, unsupposing K-pop fans,
Right.
who are all at 3 very separate levels of K-pop immersion.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about today is the youngest member, or to those of you in the know, the maknae.
Yeah.
Wait, are there girl maknaes? I think there are. I think I've seen girls be called maknaes before.
Oh, no.
Correct me in the
Yes.
comments if I'm wrong. But she's the maknae of the group. So we're going to kind of talk about her introduction to K-pop, and therefore also our little pieces of our K-pop stories, because we were also there and we were also very immersed. I also think that in doing this, we are going to grow as K-pop fans. We are going to grow as a K-pop community. And honestly, I'm really excited to hear like the K-pop out there that exists that I have never heard of, or just no one's ever introduced to me. So this is me putting myself out there. Yo, show me some K-pop. I want all the K-pop.
Dude.
Show me some K-pop.
Literally same. Because I didn't even listen to K-pop before this whole experience took place. Like, I was heavy into John Mayer, Zac Brown band, but basically that's just because of people in my life. I'm the type of person to listen to music that other people like. Like, my dad was a big John Mayer fan, and then this boy that I liked in high school was a big Zac Brown band fan, you know? So I tend to pick up things from people that I'm around. And I remember literally having no information, and then Sasha educating me in the best way possible through like music videos and music. And I remember, I don't know if you guys will remember this too, but the music video for Idol by BTS was super colorful. Their like outfits were super interesting to look at, and we're watching it. And I don't know what they're saying, which is fine because the music is awesome to listen to. And Sasha was explaining the meaning of that song and saying how like they were getting a lot. BTS, the group, had been getting a lot of criticism at the time because they were like trying to be a K-pop group. They were trying to be a boy group, and like this was basically their clapback of saying to all their haters, like, I know what I am. I know what I want. I ain't never gonna change. Like, I don't care about your opinion.
I already know, dude. People are gonna come at it just because, obviously, BTS being the biggest group in the world, this is a weird place for us to start because not all of us got our love of BTS or love of K-pop from BTS, but
right.
That's okay.
It would be and if you're a K-pop fan, you gotta know this in your heart. It'd be a travesty not to at least mention BTS in why we love K-pop so much. They are a really good example, to me at least, and I'm sure to my
They're a good embodiment of what K-pop is, at least currently.
Absolutely.
Right. The good of it, you know, like the hardworking, the passion, the writing music because you love music. And I know K-pop gets a really bad rap just because for a long time people looked at it as like factory machine made music. And there is an element of it there, but that also doesn't mean people don't work hard. It also doesn't mean people don't put their soul into what they do. And if you're a musician, I know you understand that all you want, no matter if you wrote the song or didn't, no matter, all you want is for people to like your art.
And the new stuff that comes out, because of the way that they go about things, is even better than the last album they put out. So for me, it's like, okay, my boys are putting out a new album. Like, I'm excited. But then because of their like work ethic, it's even better than I expected. I've never had a group do that before.
Dani's first foray into music that does get better and doesn't stay the same for 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you opened with John Mayer, so we can't like just let you skate by with that. Like, we're here to talk about K-pop. You're like, I used to listen to John Mayer, and everyone
I love
was
Taylor
like,
Swift.
Everyone's like, your opinion matters. Zero. No.
Right.
But I think that you do bring up a good point, though, that in loving BTS, you kind of, I think universally as a K-pop fandom, you have this understanding that K-pop is about more than just the music. And that's weird for people like me because I've always just been about the music. I used to be a douche. I'm sorry, this is family friendly. I used to be a real mean guy when it came to like pop music. I used to like, I couldn't get with it. But then BTS being this really good example of me really kind of enjoying the people to the point where it affects their art in a positive way. And Dani, when I remember specifically in the beginning being like, yo, you should check out BTS. And I was just like, I was on my like GOT7 train and whatever Sasha was showing me at the time, you know, all of that. And I was like, oh, BTS. I wasn't really into the boy groups, GOT7 being like my first like boy group that had the themes behind it, you know, the boyfriend kind of groups. And then Dani being like, yo, you got these boys. They're amazing. And I'm like, yo, what you're saying sounds weird. Like, these boys are amazing. Like, yeah, they make good music, but what do you mean? And then you start to check out their like internet presence. And that
is the thing.
You're like, what the hell, man? How did I not know these amazing people existed for the last 5 years? And that they're making music. You genuinely want to support those people because of the people that they are. And obviously there's some glit and glam to it. It's entertainment, you know.
Right.
But to post the videos on YouTube, like to see them cooking or going on trips or whatever, really personifies what I think a lot of new K-pop fans are going for, which is that love, connection. Like, you're watching these boys be a fucking literal family and they make music.
Yeah, I will say part of the reason I'm drawn to K-pop is because of that intimacy. So you kind of you feel like you know these people on a different level than maybe American celebrities. So American celebrities you hear news about, but it never feels like it's something that's happening to your friend, right. You know? and you just really want to be there for them and kind of support them. And you hear a lot about their lives, you know, their personalities, their likes and dislikes, and you really get to know them. And then they're also releasing music. And I found that for K-pop, it was the first genre of music where I was eagerly awaiting the next album of like multiple groups. Where I was just like, when is their next release? Like, what is going on? Because even like as a teenager listening, like I listened to a lot of like more rock type music. And I knew all like full discographies of my favorite bands, but I didn't know anything about the people in the groups.
Right.
Apart from their names and what they looked like.
Right.
And then also, like, I mean, when their next album dropped, I was like, okay, cool. I need to go like buy that at some point. But it was never like, okay, I am like waiting. I'm like, refreshing YouTube, waiting.
Before the years of streaming, when you had to actually go and get the music to hear
I wasn't gonna like wait outside of
Dude,
FYE.
never in my life have I ever done that. Even for groups that I love dearly. Freaking Incubus, Pearl Jam, these were huge for me. And I've never like anxiously waited their album or even listened to it on the day that it came out.
Right. Same. I mean,
same.
It's just because.
So yeah,
go ahead.
It brings in, it just brings in a whole different level of like fandom. And it's not, it's a level of connection where, you know, you feel for these people on a deeper level than you do your average celebrity. Like they're killing it. They're killing it on the empathy.
When Map of the Soul Persona came out and RM had a song by himself, I lost my mind because I don't know much about the group, but that was the first time that I'd heard RM have his own song. And he killed it in, and he's being deep. You know, he has a message that I relate to. I mean, I was going through it at the time that I found BTS, and I felt like I could relate to a lot of the things they said. There is actually this one song they have, Answer, Love Myself, that hits hard at the chorus because it says, you've shown me reasons that I should love myself. And I don't know if they're talking to the fans. They must be. I don't know if they're talking to each other. They must be because they act like a family, but it could mean all of it. And for me personally, it made me feel like I should love myself just because of how genuine they were expressing themselves. And like that got me through some things. And I think that's huge for a fan to be able to like play that message on repeat, which it did. I listened to that song. I felt moved. I literally like played it again and again and again. And you know what I mean? Like I slowly, every single day was reminding myself that I should love myself.
I think a lot of people have that with BTS. And again, this is kind of why we are even talking about them in this episode, because it wasn't my first, like BTS was not my first K-pop group. I know it wasn't Sashel's first K-pop group. It brings to light why we're even doing this, which is that K-pop has something special and something that I think that the rest of the world would get behind if they were seeing it. And BTS is doing a great job bringing K-pop to the mainstream, but I feel like we can all do our part in bringing in new people, bringing in people who walked away from K-pop because they didn't know what it was about and coming back, because I think that a new age for K-pop is coming. But we, as people with all different levels of experience, get to have these different experiences moving into it. Like I think that Dani's experience of kind of joining in probably maybe a year ago from this, and then Sashel's experience hearing about K-pop from I don't even know how many years ago. Like just your first hearing about it was at least in like the early 2000s. This channel is going to kind of represent that when new people come in, like the stages of how they're going to fall in love with K-pop, the reasons why we all did. And the reason BTS is even being brought up is that perfect example of our bros, like literally like I feel like my little brothers are out there trying to make their dreams come true, and they are like the biggest band in the world. And you're constantly just like, and this is me kind of explaining to people who don't get K-pop. People always ask me, like, what the hell is about K-pop? What do you love? I'm literally watching people who I think are doing a positive thing for the world get popular. That's so rare, especially in America. Like, it's hard to root for celebrities sometimes because you may like their music, but then, like, what they stand for and kind of what they portray, the image they portray, can be very not what you stand for. You know, like, no, yes, I love the fact that Cardi B is really popular and she's really funny, but I don't really love watching my 8-year-old cousins walk around going "wop" and like freaking doing splits and like, yeah, I can do a split, and I'm like, you shouldn't be trying that just yet. But like, it's part of the culture now because of I primarily music for a long time. It's part of the culture. So
yeah, imagine now we have this part of our culture from K-pop that promotes hard work, like morals, and like love and looking out for people next to you and around you.
I mean, it's not flawless, which we won't stay tuned.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not. What I will say is, at least in regard to BTS and like how Dani said that she felt, you know, that she needed to love herself, the fact that you could even get that message, even though the entire song, apart from maybe that one line, is in Korean, but that still like made an impact on you and stuck with you, is something to be said about the genre as a whole. Like you can portray all different kinds of emotions across cultures, and that is what K-pop is doing, and it's beautiful.
I mean, even Korean art in general is with Parasite winning a Oscar.
Yeah,
like
Parasite,
like that,
amazing.
Like, we're transcending this language barrier, which is like what
necessary.
Right. The number one thing when I show people K-pop and why they don't like it is they don't understand it. And I'm like, why? Like, read the lyrics then. Like, do you read the lyrics to the songs you like? Like, I'm not making fun of any kinds of music, but there are some rap songs, we'll call them, out there that you have absolutely no idea what's being said, but you get the vibe. You get the feeling.
Right.
And then if you...
Are they in English?
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe somewhere in there, just a little bit. But you don't need to understand to feel it. And I definitely think that K-pop has changed a lot for me. Just understanding that, yes, I don't understand what they're saying, but I feel what they're saying. And if I want to understand, I go look it up.
Dude.
Because I can read.
Yeah.
And then the thing that blew my mind is, no, I didn't really need to understand what they were saying. But then when I looked it up, dude.
Okay.
Dude.
Dani. What's up?
Black Swan by BTS is lyrical poetry. Like, once I actually even look into
100.
what they're saying, I get something more out of it that I didn't have before. And it's not traditional rhyming that we need in like the English language or in American culture, because they don't have to follow the same rhyming rules that our language has to follow.
Absolutely. Like, just think about like the rhyming schemes, because we are all dipping our toes into the language at varying levels. And one thing I've kind of noticed about Hangul is just like a lot of the endings of words kind of end in vowel sounds that could be easily rhymed with each other.
Rhymed together.
Right. So it is kind of like almost a little easier to say something prolific in Korean because you can, and there's a lot of liberty that they give each other too with the language and songs specifically. So it's almost easier to get like a prolific meaning across because you can say these really deep things and they don't have to traditionally rhyme in the translation. They can just rhyme in the language that they're sang in.
For sure.
Right.
They talk about dying twice as a dancer because the first time you die is when you lose the ability to dance. That's gorgeous. I was like, yo, these boys are saying some real
You were
stuff.
like,
And they're being honest about the experience that they're having, because at that point they'd been trainees forever. They'd been in the professional eye forever. And they probably were starting to feel some physical deterioration.
Right.
And instead of, hiding that, they made a song about it that touched me in a beautiful artistic way.
we know there's certain members of certain groups that are
Oh, yes. We'll talk about
taking care of their deterioration currently. So
if you want to find out who all of our biases is, stay tuned. One of these days, we'll tell you. I'm genuinely, once I became a K-pop fan, like finding out other people, the reason other people loved K-pop became an obsession of mine. Like, I really enjoy hearing people discover K-pop for the first time. It's probably one of my favorite things to watch, is people being like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden, it's watching them fall down the same hole that I fell down.
actually, honestly, introducing you guys was like the best part of my K-pop journey.
Aww. That's so
Because
nice.
you guys got so excited with me. Like, you guys were the first ones
Yes.
to be like, oh!
This
And I
is
was
amazing.
like, really? You guys are like this too?
It's
Yes!
amazing. And honestly, like, when Dani started getting into it, I kind of knew that K-pop had something special, because me and Dani had very different musical tastes for all of our relationship. Like, literally, she'd be like, oh, listen to this Jason Mraz song. And I was like, it's all right. It's all right.
Listen
like,
to this One Republic
it's not,
bop.
Right. It's not bad, but also, like, I'm listening to it just like, okay, yeah.
At the time, all I needed
You're
for
like, this
music,
is generic pop.
all I needed was like one voice and one guitar.
Maybe a piano.
Sebastian's like, I'm trying to listen to the bass. I'm trying to listen to like the shaker in the background. Where's
No, he's
that?
trying to listen to some talent.
Right. That's literally, and I'm not saying like we're not throwing shade. Like, people work hard to make their music.
No.
But the thing about it was that I didn't necessarily respect always why she would
My
like
taste.
a song. Well, like, why she would like a song. She'd be like, I love this song. I'd be like, why? She's like, because it goes boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, it does it counts quarter notes. That's okay. Again, I used to be a snob. Don't judge me. I judged too many people.
You were a snob.
I was, but it was
were.
because I genuinely had an ear for the best way to explain it, hunger. Like, I like to hear people's passion, and art really comes from that like place of suffering, right? Like, when you hear people who are working their butts off, for excuse my language, I'll bleep that out. When they're working their butts off to get somewhere, it just hits different. It just feels different. The same as like with American artists, like rappers who aren't necessarily super famous, and then they come out with a song that you really like. Them not being famous is sometimes like a part of the appeal of the song, because they're hungry.
You want them to win. You
Right.
want them to get famous.
And a part of Korean culture that I think all of us resonated with, because we've all done theater or music or any kind of art, something that resonated with us is that even when idols make it to like that top level, they still work hard. They're still hungry. They're still always like, I can work harder. I can do better. I will be better. And to me, that was immediately appealing, because you can hear it in the music. You can hear them like, I'm going my best. I'm doing my best. And I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
I can hear that.
I also noticed that specifically for K-pop, and I don't know if this is true for other East Asian types of music, because I'm not sure.
Right.
But they put out so many songs.
That
Like, as
gratification
an
button,
American, yeah, as an American, people are like a band or a singer will release like one album, like, and then maybe like a year and a half later another album. But
Right.
no,
Nope.
K-pop is like 3 months later we have a mini album. Because because we weren't prepared for a full album, but bro, we got you.
Right. And then you got
You
some
know?
groups that like just, they put out a mini album with their group, and then you got people in the group releasing mini albums solo, and then you got like subunits releasing mini albums. Like,
Yeah,
the
there's
constant
subunits, or
gratification.
and then they're also doing things like variety shows. And you're just like,
Yes.
so you still get to see them like active even when they're not like releasing music right now.
That is a huge thing. That is a huge thing. The content that they put out, the level of content that K-pop idols put out is just unmatched. Like, it's literally unmatched.
Dance practice version, like
Love
live
it.
stage version. You know, the music video isn't even the best one, to be honest. It's the one that they spent the most money on. It's like the highest production, of course. But they'll do ones where everybody is in a line, and I've heard the song
Relays.
before.
They're called relays.
Oh,
Yes,
relays.
I love those. I love a good dance practice video. And then they get to perform at award ceremonies, which I love. It's awesome.
I enjoy when they do like fan service videos, like where it's like dance practice, but also they're like in a costume or being cute with their hearts, you know, where they're like doing the dance, but instead of like
Right.
and it's super cute. Also, they have like their music videos, and then they have like performance videos, which is the music video just focused on their dancing.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Awesome. And the thing about people who look down on K-pop dancing because it's choreographed. This is something that you have to bring up whenever you talk about K-pop. The dances are choreographed, whatever. But the thing is, bro, like people are like, "Oh, it's easy to dance choreographed." I'm like, it's not easy to dance choreographed like you fucking mean it. Like, it's not easy to dance choreographed like your soul's in it. Like, these dudes and women crush it. Like, in a way where you're just like, you understand what they're saying through the dancing, and they're not speaking language you understand, but you can feel it through their movements. And you're just like, like people are like, "Oh, you can't, if it's choreographed, it's not good." I'm like, what do you expect them to do? Freestyle a whole freaking song? Like
with 7 people?
With 7 people, and for it to look good. But that's part of the connection I'm talking about. That's part of the content I'm talking about. Like, there's dances that come out with these songs that people enjoy being able to do with the stars. Like, if they're doing it on stage and you're in the, well, I'm rip, but if you're doing it on stage and you're in the crowd and they're doing the dance, if you know the dance, you dance with them. And like, again,
right.
That's a level you don't necessarily get in the Western part of the world. You don't get that same. You get the stanky.
Not since boy bands.
Not since boy bands.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I've never had an experience before where I love every single member of a group. Like, also, I would have to say, I guess I am going to talk about BTS again. I love.
Yeah, go for it.
Prepped her for it, and she's just like, I don't think it's going to be that much.
I described my love for BTS to Sebastian as a kaleidoscope of love tornadoes.
That is a literal quote, verbatim.
That is a great quote.
I fall in love all over with each member of that group. The more I learn about, Suga's stoic personality or like J-Hope's positivity, but the magic, and you actually are the person that told me this, and now I've seen it more and more, but the magic of that group is them working together and being uniquely different people, but working towards a common goal.
Yeah, I think that that's something that's also very prevalent in K-pop and so important, at least compared to American culture. Because that's all I can compare it to.
That's
Right.
all we've experienced, people. I'm sorry we're not worldly.
Yeah,
yet.
sorry. Working on it. But in K-pop, the groups, the people have very distinct roles and personalities, whereas kind of in America, like, or even in European, so even things like One Direction, like, who are those boys? They're all the same person.
I'm sure
right?
there are some people who know, like, but I don't know. I have no idea.
I know.
But I mean, as an image, I wouldn't even be able to distinguish who likes what.
Right,
Like,
me neither.
But I mean, that's also could be because I am ignorant of that group.
Yes. The more we're talking about it, the more I'm just like, I was a hater, okay? One Direction, when they came out, I was probably entering my like metal phase of my teenage years. So when someone was like, "Oh, One Direction," I was like, Like, what? A boy group out of the UK? And then I heard a song and they weren't wearing shirts and they were on a beach. And I was just like, oh God.
Yeah,
Now?
I never had like a visceral negative reaction like you, but that's because, like, to be honest, I just didn't get into them.
Right.
Like, I was just like maybe I was too busy listening to like A7X, but then also, like, sometimes I would pop on random, Britney Spears and be like, yeah, this is my jam today. Like, I was random with my music always, but K-pop is the first time that I really like kind of grabbed into something and was just like, this is it. This is where I belong.
That's interesting.
I'm home.
Yeah.
Right.
For me,
Yeah, I'm home.
sorry, I was just gonna
Go
say
ahead.
it's interesting because for me, K-pop is the first time that I've started to explore, like on my own, and go to the the K-pop channel on Spotify and just let it play.
It's
and
just because we
figure out
made
new
fun
music.
of you for only listening to BTS.
Yes.
That wasn't on your own volition.
This is proof of why you two are elevating me as a person always. Because you guys are like, you don't like K-pop, you just like BTS. And I was like, they're right.
I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
Watch me listen to TXT now.
Right? And Blackpink. I'm so diverse.
Yeah, but honestly, that's why having a group with like different layers of K-pop in it is amazing. Because honestly, I would never have even really given BTS the time of day if Dani hadn't fallen in love with them. And then like
Honestly, yeah, I took a deep dive into TXT because Dani liked them. Like,
Yes.
straight up, I was like, these boys are
This is
amazing.
news.
And now I love them. I love them.
So, and
Like, I knew who
Sebastian-
they were, but I couldn't
yeah, it
couldn't
wasn't,
even
like,
tell you,
in
like,
there yet.
yeah, now I'm in it.
I guess that is part of the fun, is like sharing your groups. Because Sebastian introduced us to Ace. Remember that? That was a magic
You're welcome.
moment in our lives.
It was.
Because those guys are amazing at dancing.
And
And
everything.
Yeah, amazing at everything.
Stan.
Oh, Sashal's voice is gone.
Aww.
A few moments later.
My love of Ace is even deeper now because now I'm seeing multiple, like, June and Chan are getting into like filming.
Yes.
They're in Zombie Detective, by the way. Hilarious.
What?
Dude, this is the great part about K-pop.
What?
My boys,
What? My boys?
Yeah.
they're gonna apply.
I've seen them. I've actually seen them in multiple things, like as random. I've seen Chan in more than I've seen June, but usually they're together.
Right. Hey.
Which
They're
is, I
gonna
mean, I don't know.
apply their hard work ethic and like effort to anything they do. So to hear about them doing filming or being on a TV show that we already love, like, that's amazing.
They are good at Stan Ace. If you like
Stan Ace,
if you've
you
made it
haven't.
this far, you must like K-pop at least a little bit. So
Right.
Stan Ace. If you don't
Do
know, now you know. Go Stan Ace. But it is kind of like that very cool thing. It's like collecting cards again. I don't know if y'all remember. I might be the only millennial.
Oh,
But like Pokemon,
hey,
where you know what I meant. You know what I meant. Like Pokemon, like back in the day when you would have like the newest card and you wanted to show your friend the newest card and you knew that they would get that like love out of it. K-pop's to that next level because showing someone a group you like is like, here's your next 6 days are just ruined. Like this is all you're gonna do for the next 6 days.
you're right.
And you
You're right,
know
it
they're gonna get
happens
that
all the
love and
time.
joy out of it. That's we've been talking about how much we love K-pop. I think if people don't get it at this point, we love K-pop. You got some problems.
You know
We
how-
love it.
You know how I know that I love K-pop is because I don't care if the person that I show hates it.
That's also true. That is true. And like, even after I make my case, so I will talk about K-pop all the time.
All the time.
All the time. All of my friends know that I love K-pop. All of them. They're like, okay, this is you. I got you. I hear you. And they're just like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, that's okay.
That's okay.
You don't need to. I just need to like it.
I need to play the song right now, or it's never getting out
End
of
of
my head.
story. Like, honestly, I'm so like, it's not even, do I wish I was Korean? No. But am I happy that I can experience Korean things? Absolutely.
We completely agree with you. Although I will say I am definitely guilty of sometimes being like, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if I woke up and looked like that. I was God dang.
The women are beautiful. The men are beautiful. What is going on?
What is going on?
But I mean, that
Everyone's
happens
fashionable.
everywhere. There are, I mean, I live in LA. When I walk around, there's beautiful people of every
Can't attest
kind.
to this. I've been there.
Every kind.
But this is actually a good segue into this topic because this is a big hot topic. Because I'm a male and I'm not. I'm very manly looking. What do you call this?
Traditionally masculine?
Butch, like masculine.
Traditionally
Yeah.
masculine,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
you've
and-
got
and-
some masculine energy. Physically, you're very masculine because
Right.
you got them shoulders.
And a lot of people, when I talk about K-pop or when I talk about what I like about K-pop or whatever, a lot of people don't necessarily get me when I'm like appreciating that king energy or that queen energy from a K-pop idol. I'm not saying I'm sexually attracted to that idol. Then a lot of people in America have a hard time understanding this because of how sex is like in the culture of music.
It's ingrained in everything
It really
here.
is. But for like
We're a
you can
sexual
look
kind
at
of culture.
someone- you can look at someone like V and who like comes out and he always has that energy of just like very attractive person, and he's not trying to be like, if you know V from his content, he's very
No, he's just a
flawlessly
beautiful person.
Right, he's a very flawlessly handsome person, and I can appreciate the hell out of that. He'll walk out, I'll be the first one in the room, like, "Damn!" Like
my dad is a manly man, and my dad was like, his skin is unbelievably clear.
flawless. Like, why? And that's a huge part
His
of the
face
culture.
is flawless. What do you?
Literally,
Everything.
marble.
He is flawless.
And people who hear me kind of talking about that always kind of give me that same reaction, like, I mean, are you? Like, what are you doing, man? You judging these? They look like girls, and I'm just like, see, now that's just the ignorance of the culture,
Right.
because
That is.
in America, it's really hard because American culture is so ingrained across the world. It's a very widespread culture. It's touched a lot of stuff. We tend to forget that other cultures are going to have a very specific way of doing things, that are going to have a different way of doing things. And men wearing makeup is one of the biggest reasons most people here won't give K-pop a chance that I've heard.
Yeah.
Minus the
I
not
actually hear
understanding.
that a lot. I hear that a lot too. And I'm like, listen, if ladies can wear makeup, men can also wear makeup, because
If you pull it off,
if everyone
do
wants
it.
to look good, like
if you look good,
You
then
should.
do it. like why? Like when people are like, oh, they wear makeup, they look like girls. I literally just point at the screen. I'm like, but they look like that. Like, who gives?
but they're beautiful.
They look amazing. They're and it's not even always just about the classic beauty standard. Sometimes it's just about the like knowing that Park Jimin or from BTS is shy and like really like, you know, sensitive in real life, and then seeing him on stage with that big king energy and just killing it, looking fabulous, like it adds to that.
Wearing earrings, having purple hair, having lace.
I'm not
all the
gonna
way up
lie.
his throat, killing the game.
Yes. My first experience with Jimin and that energy totally happened in blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh yeah.
With that, the shoulder off
Oh,
and then
yeah,
back
that
on it, and I was
famous-
like, woo! I was like, not that, like, he was always amazing, like all the love, but just like I couldn't even contain myself during that
No,
video.
I've never
I was just
seen
like,
that before in my life, where someone does like a dance move, throws their jacket off their shoulder, throws it back on with like all the fierceness of like I've never seen in my life.
Yeah, I've never seen that level of fierce come off a man, first of all.
Wearing makeup and with like the most feminine kind of like I don't want to say
Aesthetic.
energy, just like aesthetic. Like he's very feminine and then graceful and then fierce and just
But I loved
sexy.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because
I loved
he's
it.
also a very masculine person. You get to find that out as you dig deeper into
Daddy Jimin.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you'll learn.
You will.
Jimin's daddy.
Yes.
See, this is what makes people uncomfortable. Why can't I just say this? This is the truth, though. This is the truth.
Because they
You're
don't
not
know
wrong.
that what you mean is him scolding his other members. Like, we need to share our food. We can't just keep it hoarded.
And
We
then
have
he
to
steals the freaking. Oh, didn't V steal something from it? That was like.
There was a big blow up in BTS, and it was because V wanted to eat his food before practice, and then Jimin said we should wait till all the members are here so we could share the food.
And then V ate them all.
And it was like the biggest blow up.
Oh! But like, dude, this is honestly when I try and talk to people about why I even embarked on the journey of K-pop. It reignited like music for me. Like it just the passion and the energy and the content and the
Get
variety.
you excited.
Right. Like even like
It
when you
gets you
consider
excited.
the big three, which was like a new concept to me coming into this, right? When they're like the big three, I'm like, who? Which is
Right.
now realistically the big five. But
Anyone who doesn't know that still has no idea.
right. So when I came into this,
True.
there's three main companies that produce a lot of the K-pop that is heard around the world. Most of the popular groups are from these companies. And in Korea, there's actually like a castial hierarchy when it comes to what group you belong or what company you belong to. So you get introduced to this world. We have these three main companies, and each of them produces drastically different sounding K-pop. And then you kind of go beyond that, and you have all these artists that are on the fringe of K-pop who like want to change fundamentally how K-pop sounds, or want to make it more Western, or want to make it less Western, or like there's this variety cap, and because they release so constantly, you are never bored. Like K-pop, you
Right.
will never be bored. Like there is always something.
There's always something.
There's
There's always something.
Always something.
There was a point where I was kind of girl groups weren't my favorite, and we'll talk about this more next episode, so stay tuned. But girl groups weren't my favorite, specifically because in America, to see the aegyo or the cutesiness of like what they're doing, they're acting very childlike, right? In American culture. So then to see girls you find traditionally attractive acting childlike in the beginning for me was kind of hard at first to accept.
Got you a little cringy. You were
Right.
like, I feel some kind of way, and I feel weird about the way that I feel.
Right. But then, so recently, obviously I've amended this and blah, blah, stay tuned. I recently was just like, yeah, I feel like I've heard like the girl groups that I like the most. Like, I feel like it'd be really hard to surprise me. And then CLC dropped a new song, which, you know, if you don't know CLC, they release music rarely. There's a lot of complications and whatnot. But they dropped a song, and I was just like, who the hell is this? Like, it's all
I love
always,
CLC.
when
Like,
you
what?
think you've hit that limit, something will come by and shatter it.
You introduced me to that song that they released, and I also was like, oh my God, from a visual standpoint, because the music video was amazing, and from a music standpoint, because that stuff is catchy.
Right.
It's playing in my head right now.
There's always something. And even if you don't like necessarily K-pop, Korea is this just like wealth of talent, man. You have like lounge singers who would just like blow your mind with how emotional and like deep they get with their songs. And then you have freaking rappers, underground. The underground rap scene in Korea is probably seconded to none in the Eastern Asia area. And I am a heavy fan of Japanese underground rap scene. I am a heavy fan of that. And then you go to Korea and just the level of talent that like per person is just crazy.
I wouldn't even know about J-rap or K-rap without you, which has been kind of fun because, like you said, like sharing different groups is unique because we all have different taste. We all have things that we're drawn to. And for me personally, like hard music or like music with an edge to it is something that I really enjoy, but I'm never super drawn to. So that was huge for me as well because I never would have gotten into J-rap.
As a whole, like, yes, we mostly talk about K-pop here, but, you know, we're gonna kind of roll in hip hop and like R&B.
Yes.
From a Korean perspective into this, because you have to. Like,
Yes.
I can't go without Lehigh. Like, and she is soul for days.
For days.
For days.
We were actually just talking about the rebranded Jamie, who used to be Park Jimin from JYP.
Yeah.
Jamie, like, she just did a podcast as filming this with Eric Nam. Dude, you should watch it. She is an amazing human being. I don't know if you guys know about Jamie, but she's an amazing human being.
Formerly known as Park Jimin, female version.
I know a little bit about her from you, literally. I've heard songs from her from you, just being in your like playlist, being like, oh my God, this girl's vocal is amazing. And then every time I would hear her music, I would be excited about it. But then also hearing about like what a confident woman she is and how hard she stands up for her music so that she can put out stuff that she wants to put out is impressive.
I'm just saying, the first time I ever heard her sing was with Young Jae from GOT7. They have a duet, and it is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It is beautiful. You should definitely listen to it.
Hell
it is, because both of them can just sing their ass off.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And I think K-pop, that's another win for K-pop, because we're coming to the end of this video, but literally this whole video, we were going to talk about like the journey, and what we ended up talking about, which I think is actually almost better, is why people don't like K-pop and why they are dumb. like literally.
You're right.
That's this whole video. But to kind of cap it, when I talk about content, like one of the things that I think K-pop does really well compared to other parts of the world is features. Like, obviously they could do better. I think some inter-company featuring should
intermixing is necessary.
That would be great. But when it comes to the artists within a company, I really appreciate the subunits that kind of go on. Like, when we talk about groups like Big Bang, you have to mention GD and Taehyung. And
CL
and freaking GD and CL, GD and Top, like obviously GD is vital for this beat, but at the same time, like that separation from like the bigger idea of Big Bang and giving you this little taste of G-Dragon that you wouldn't necessarily get with the whole of Big Bang. I think K-pop does this better than almost anywhere else. Maybe like the rap scene in like the early 2000s, late 90s was kind of like this because everyone was featuring on everyone's but
you're right.
Not anymore. Like you don't get the colossal freaking
you get to see a whole new light. That's the thing. Like GD with Taeyang is totally different than GD with Top and GD with CL. You get to see this person that you've grown accustomed to be somebody else completely, and I don't think you get that.
Necessarily. Obviously, we could be wrong.
It's not popular yet, but it should be.
Yes, it should.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I think that when people feature, from an American standpoint, they're usually still on brand with kind of what they already do. Like when Nicki Minaj entered, BTS's world, she was still just Nicki Minaj.
Right.
Yeah.
On a BTS album. When Selena Gomez joined with Blackpink, still Selena Gomez. Like,
but
just
for me, when a feature doesn't add anything to the song, why would it be there? And the thing I love about K-pop is that they give you both versions.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, I have both versions on my Spotify, and whatever comes up
is what you listen to.
When I shuffle is what I listen to.
And I like them for different reasons.
Yeah. Like I'm not hating on Nicki Minaj. And her part is catchy, but the song is just fine without her.
Right.
Also.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like in some American songs, like the features sometimes are like the whole song. Like a popular example, frickin' that Rihanna and Drake song that played for like an entire year without stopping.
Take care.
So
If you
was that
let
Drake
me.
featuring Rihanna? I think it was Drake featuring Rihanna. that song, like without Rihanna, that song is unrecognizable. Like that's not. Maybe Drake could have like, if you let me, like maybe, but it wouldn't have been as good. Like that is a good feature. That is a feature. Two artists are featuring each other in a song. They made a song together. But when you just
That's
like,
a duet.
right? Well, okay, yes, but that's what I want from a feature. I don't want. Yeah, BTS featuring Nicki Minaj, and then I listened to the song, and they just cleared out some of Jungkook's vocals to let Nicki Minaj rap. For me, it was just like, nah, no, I'm okay. Let's go bring back Jungkook's vocals, and I don't even remember what part they removed, but like that's how I feel. Like
they didn't remove a part.
Really,
they removed the instrumental.
Well, if you want to talk about that,
is that the dance break? The part where it's like, and then, so they just put Nicki Minaj to that part? Okay. It's not as bad.
They didn't get rid of any vocals. I think people would have been really upset if they did that.
I'm trying to
correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But
no, that sounds right because there is a lot of space in that part. But I have no idea because I don't. Again,
it's just like a clip on the end. But to be honest, like a lot of BTS's songs with features, like the one like Boy with Love.
Yes.
With Halsey.
Yes.
To be honest, if you watch a live version of that, it's fine.
For most of them.
It's fine.
Now flip it. There are songs that BTS is featured on that they completely change the song, like Savage Love. You know that song?
Yeah.
They're not the main people, but without them, that song would not be as good.
Yes.
Right.
This might devalidate me a little bit, but I've never heard a version of that song that didn't have BTS in it.
Neither have I.
I don't know.
To be honest.
Right.
Me either.
But when people feature on K-pop songs, a lot of it's for clout, right? The reason the reason why Halsey's feature was kind of so heartwarming, even though it was kind of useless to the song technically, was because this was like BTS was big, but they weren't like Boy with Love. That whole album blew them the fuck up, right? So Halsey was making like I
mean, I was already listening to them, so they were already big to me. So I'm not.
Okay, but they weren't even on my radar.
In America, they blew up. That's when they started going on.
They were already. They've
shows.
been in America since Fake Love.
Probably, yeah.
Fake Love
Jimmy
blew
Fallon,
them. No,
not on the Tonight Show with James Corden.
Fake Love, believe me, Fake Love is the thing that brought them to America and made them blow up. I was there.
But Boy with Love was the one I heard in the mall. Like Boy with Love was the one I heard, like actually be integrated into American kind of music.
It's when they became American mainstream.
And I think Halsey being on it had something to do with that because of how wholesome it was. She was literally like friends with these kids. So you have all these freaking Halsey fans who are like, the hell is Halsey doing with a Korean group? And then they look YouTube like why Halsey did Boy with Love. And then it takes them to Halsey being like, I love those boys. Like that collaboration started out as a business move and ended up being like family. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was just like
now they're friends.
Oh my God. Now I got to go back and listen to this song again with this new frame of mind, with this new like love to it. And I'm like, oh, I love Halsey being in this, even though she technically didn't have to. Her part did add something to the song. Whereas
that's true.
Not every feature can do that.
Yeah. But I mean, like they also had features with like Charlie XCX.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Dream World. That's what it was.
BTS turned me on to Love. I don't know how to say LAUV. They turned me on to him and Max, both of them.
Oh, Max was great.
Yeah, I had no idea who the hell they were, and then I was like, wait, they featured BTS? Wow, this is awesome. So
you're like, wait, they're good too.
Yeah, you want to talk good collabs with BTS? Steve Aoki.
Well, we all knew who Steve Aoki was before.
Everyone knew that, but also
yes.
And if you listen to the version without Steve Aoki,
it's very different.
Steve Aoki killed it.
Yes.
Sorry. Like I like Mic Drop without him, but it's so much better
with him.
It's so much better.
Controversial maybe, but I'm with you, Sachel.
Yeah, this might be might be a hot take for some people. I don't know.
Welcome to the podcast. Deal with
But
it.
yeah, Mic Drop with Steve Aoki is better.
Yeah. But-
Wasted on Me with Steve Aoki is also really good. Oh my god, that's a great BTS song.
That's a newer one, right?
I don't
think
know.
so.
I should know, but I don't.
Ace just did a Steve Aoki remix of
I saw.
Goblin or Favorite Boys.
I saw.
Yeah. It's epic.
Ace is killing it. I'm just going to say, as a side note, I watched Ace a few days ago, like doing like a thing on YouTube with Cosmo where they did TikTok dances.
Oh, yeah.
And they killed it.
Yes.
They're so cute. I love them.
They're adorable. I also love watching BK speak English in his super enthusiastic style. Like, today we're learning this dance, and I'm just like, yes, yes we are. Oh, that.
And I'm kind of glad he went back to BK.
Yes,
because
me
that's
too.
easier to say.
Although Jason stuck with me for a little while just because it was easier to say than Bikun. Baekhyun. And then eventually, then he started going by BK, and I was like, okay, that's better.
Yeah.
But then Baekhyun
I'm glad he
started
went to
going by
BK.
BK also. So then it like got even more confusing. But I learned how to say Baekhyun's name because I am a stan. I'm sorry.
Of which group? Of which one?
Technically, both of them.
Both
but the
of
one
them?
who gets the actual name pronunciation is EXO.
Thank you. Okay.
I love BK. Don't get me wrong. Ace, Stan Ace, but Baekhyun, bruh, that's my boy. That's my homie.
Your love of him is contagious.
I can't, that's my homie. I don't know what to tell you. And honestly, this would be a good spot to end. Are you guys down with ending?
Yeah.
And I think that today did not go as planned, obviously, but
Honestly, I thought it was good.
It was good. I couldn't think of a better way to introduce you guys, the podcast
me.
universe, to us as a group. And this is us. If you liked what you saw, please stick around. We have plenty of stuff coming. We have a YouTube channel, Buyo Pro, BUYEOPRO on YouTube. We do all kinds of crazy segments on there. We do more K-pop stuff. If you want to get in on the voting for our very first debate brigade, in which we debated what is the best debut boy group of 2020. If you want to get your vote in, head on over to YouTube and watch those videos. Give your vote in. We have Treasure versus MCND versus TOO. If you don't know, now you know.
Ooh, you better get over there.
You better get on. Ooh, you better get on now. All right, guys. Annyeong.
Bye.
Yeah.